Alrighty, good morning ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, Lake Berryessa, about 8 o'clock in the morning. Just got everything loaded up and ready to launch. We're about mid-lake right here at Oak Shore's day use ramp. Although it doesn't really look like it. It's late spring, it's basically summertime here in Northern California. And this is one of my favorite bodies of water to fish this time of year. So haven't been here in a while. Obviously the water's a lot higher than the last time we were here. Actually, I haven't even fished this part of the lake in probably over a year. Today we've got a bunch of baits. I think we've got 9 rods with us that hopefully we can figure out at least one of them that the fish want and get on some solid summer bass. But I figured just to start this video, I'd go through every single rod that I have rigged up as of right now for our day out on the water. First one up, got a little waker, Toxic Baits whippersnapper. Right next to it, a bait even bigger, surprisingly. I know, not like me. But we've got a Depths 250. Opposite spectrum, smallest bait I got, little drop shot. Got a crankbait rod. Got a jerkbait rod, but right now I've got a little magic swimmer, little jointed bait on there. Berryessa summertime, gotta have top water. So we've got a little Chopo. This is in the 90 size. We've got a small swim bait. Got another top water, a walking bait. You always got to have a jig, a little finesse jig when you're out on Berryessa. So that is the lineup. I have no idea which baits will work, which will be the most productive. Hopefully it's not a terribly difficult day and the fishing is pretty much wide open, which it tends to be in the summer, but you don't really know until you go out there and find out. So I'm all ready to go. Just gonna go put the dolly back in the truck and we'll get this day started. Okay, I think we have to start with something big or topwater. That's like mandatory to start the morning. Let's go with the whippersnapper. Gauge their mood. Usually the bite's really good here this time of year, summer, just because there's so much bait in this lake and these fish just crush it. You'll see balls of bait just getting corralled on the bank and it can get really silly. And you'll usually see that happening. That'll give you a good indication to throw a topwater or like a small swim bait. That's bait right there. I don't know if you can see that. That is a bunch of bait. So that's exactly what we wanted to see. The only piece missing is the bass munching the crap out of that thing. Bluegill or little spots? They keep popping the surface. I think they're bluegill, I want to say. Eating bugs. Ooh, there's that bait right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's that bait ball. I still haven't seen a sign of bass though. That's the amazing part. See, that kind of thing should be just getting munched up in here. I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. I don't know if we're just gonna have to keep covering water and finding an area that these fish are in, or just getting lucky. Right place, right time. It's what, almost 10 o'clock and I haven't even had a bite yet. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's that bait. It's like a buffet. Where are the bass? Oh man, that's just a crazy sight to see. Super cool. It's cooler when there's bass like busting through it. I haven't even heard like a bass hit something like off in the distance, or a busting fish. Like, that is not good. Right now I'm throwing a weightless worm. That gives you any idea how tough it is. I can't figure this out. This is so strange. Where are they? Do they all go deeper? Do they all go suspend? You know how people have love-hate relationships with certain bodies of water? I think I finally found my love-hate relationship. I love Berryessa, but I think I equally hate it as much too. It has been literally the place in Northern California that has been some of the most epic fishing I've ever had, and probably a place I've skunked the most as well. Finally. Goodness me. Alright, maybe that's the deal. Jerk baiting. Just gotta get them in the nets to avoid the skunk. Come here, dude. You weren't even fighting. Now you're fighting? Argy. Okay. My goodness gracious, that took a long time. Way longer than I expected. Something's up with these fish. I don't know exactly what. But they're in a weird mood. Not even a keeper, but I'm happy to get a bite. I can't figure this out. It's the strangest thing. I mean, they're not spawning. I haven't seen any spawning fish. Obviously, I think it's a little too late for that. I think they'd still be shallow, post-spawn, bait chasing, it's water being up. Everything looks so good. Everything makes sense except for the key ingredient, the bass being there. Had another follower. Interesting. Gonna try a few other things, but it might be jerkbait time. There we go. Come here, buddy. Maybe it's just finding an area? I don't know. Ooh. Thank you, sir. Oh, he popped right out, too. Alright, little swim bait. Interesting. Happy to have another bite. Still not really, I mean, that confidence meter that we talk about, starting at 100 at the beginning of every fishing day. I mean, I got down to like in the 40s for sure, but we've gone up a little bit now. Still not thinking it's on by any means, but a couple of willing fish at least. It's just everywhere. Just yet to see a bass feed on it. There's probably so much of it they don't even need to. Probably just chilling in the middle, and whenever they want to come up and get a bite, they just come on up here and eat it. It's like the bait's almost too abundant. so weird I can't even draw. Ooh, just drew some out. Darn it, I was right behind it. Son of a gun. I wasn't following it, he was way back there. Wow, I think this is a micro or a bluegill. Oh my god. Hey. Ah. I think a lot of these fish are literally just buried in the grass. I've had a couple of followers on the depths, on the jerk bait. The one bite on the swim bait was on the fall. They just landed on one's head. I mean, at this point, with so much bait being up shallow, and the fact that we haven't heard one pop on it or bust, or even see one chasing, or really just going up shallow and seeing fish shallow, I think that just proves that these fish, for whatever reason, have pulled off and are buried in this grass. I've even seen in the grass, you can kind of see there, some fish buried down in 10 to 15. Totally not representative of what I thought summer bass fishing would be on Lake Berryessa, but these things can happen. Had them follow it. Dang it. Yeah, they're definitely a little deeper, and they're definitely on the bottom in the grass. Oh, giant carp. Thank God there's a little bit of water here. I can show you on the map, if this water was like 2 feet lower, this was all land. Didn't bring our wheels, of course, so could in theory drag across. Not ideal, but if this water wasn't as high as it was, look at the route we'd have to take just to get back. What time is it? 1:30? Oh boy. Man, last night and this morning on the drive up, I was just like dreaming about getting on topwater fish, catching them on pretty much any bait we threw. Now that's not really happening. Look, there's a big one. I don't know if it was following this. I don't think it was, but it was nearby. What were you doing? You want to bed deeper? Fry garter? Hard to say. One came up and looked at it. Oh, there's a bigger one cruising the bank right there. Man, they may have moved up shallow. I just heard something finally get blown up on. Finally. I heard the noise. There we go, finally. No! Oh! God, big old largemouth. Oh, okay. I'm sad, but I'm also happy I finally got bit, and man, I can't even say. That stinker right there. Good one. It's like a 3-pounder. Oh my gosh. 316, third bite of the day. Yikes. The only bad thing is the place we launched, the gate closes at 5, so I'm running out of time. Alrighty guys, it is just before 5 o'clock. We got back in time. We won't get closed in today, and I'm really glad because I do not feel like being trapped at this lake any longer. You know, these videos have an agenda or an idea, especially certain seasons or certain bodies of water where I have some history and I think I can get on a certain bite with some certain baits in a certain area. Sometimes it works out great. Sometimes it exceeds expectations with a few curveballs here and there. But today is one of those days that happens every so often where it did not go to plan. I had a whole lot of rods, a whole lot of baits for 2 fish, 3 bites all day on Lake Berryessa, and I'm surprised. It's actually pretty shocking. This time of year, end of spring, early summer, the top water, the reaction bite, that stuff should just go off. And it just wasn't the case. I think we came at a really funky time. It took us a while to kind of gather maybe what some of the fish were doing, but ultimately we started out our day with some big baits. We had that whippersnapper, we had a chopo, top water deal, not a single bite. Saw some bait up shallow early on, so that was a positive sign. Again, that's why the top water bite, the reaction bite, can be so good here in the summer, is that bait gets up shallow, those fish key in on it and munch on it. So I thought that was a good sign, but it was a little bit misleading. I cycled through all of our big stuff, little stuff, finesse stuff. We moved to points, to coves, to main lake, and absolutely nothing. So I think our first bite of the day was, geez, almost 4 or 5 hours into the day, something crazy like that, way back in a cove, throwing a jerk bait, got that small bass in, thought maybe that meant something, kept throwing that jerk bait, didn't get another bite, switched over to a small swim bait. Not too long after, made a cast on the fall, got bit, nice largemouth, thought, okay, maybe that meant something. Both those fish on the grass line in about 8 to 10 foot, thinking, okay, well, the fish aren't up shallow, they're not eating top water, maybe they just kind of moved into the grass. And that theory was also wrong for the most part, at least getting a bite. Tried that entire area, going to different points, different coves, trying different baits, mixing in a ton of stuff, and I just couldn't buy a bite. I threw the depths 250 a few times along with that jerk bait, and I did have some followers. I had a few fish come out from the deeper water. You know, after seeing those fish in combination with seeing still a ton of bait, tons of that bait up shallow in the back of coves where they should get trapped and munched on, I was seeing that, but no following bass, no busting bass. I didn't even hear a bass busting in the distance on top, something crazy like that, just to give me a sign that they're bait chasing. That in combination with some of those followers, I think what happened today, a lot of these fish just bury themselves in the grass. I have no idea why. Maybe just because of the abundance of forage, they don't need to be eating 24/7. Maybe they were just on a big feed window and now they're settled back down in the grass, kind of hunkered down. But I think that's a lot of what the fish were doing. I think they were just buried in that grass. I'd get a couple of followers every so often. Now, the only thing that was a little bit of a glimmer of hope was later on in the day, around 2, 3 o'clock, starting to stand up, starting to see more fish, largemouth, up shallow. Something I hadn't seen all day. Only had seen fish really when they had followed it from the deeper water. So I saw those fish shallow, and I figured at this point, why not throw a chopo? Let's burn it over some water, cover ground, see if we can get anyone to even just come up and take a swipe at it. And it actually didn't take too long. On a point, threw that chopo, started reeling it in. About halfway through the retrieve, it gets smoked. I have no clue what happened. The fish seemed to have eaten the bait. I just didn't get a hook at them, which is amazing, and I've said this many times before. All I have to do is blow on a treble hook bait and I'm hooked. I don't understand how a bass can blow up and try to eat a treble hook bait and not get a hook at it. The physics of it are mind-blowing to me. Anyways, missed that fish. I kept going with that. I had limited time. You know, if I didn't have to get out of this place with a gate closing, I probably would have stayed another couple of hours. I do think that there's going to be a topwater bite this evening. Can't say for sure. We'll never know. All I know is that Lake Berryessa won, myself 0. The fish beat me today. It was just a poor performance of fishing. It was a tough day, but still no excuses. These are the kinds of days that, though I'm not a fan of, they can be learning experiences, building blocks to improve yourself as an angler. I'm sure there's something that I could have done to get bit. That's the crazy thing. There's always something, some bait, some area, some technique, even though you retrieve. There's some combination that you can do to get bit. Maybe not a lot of bites, but definitely more bites than we had today, and I just didn't do it. So I don't know, weird day. Let me know in the comments below what you guys would have done, would have tried today that maybe I missed out on or overlooked. Like I said, this lake can be hit or miss. It can be my favorite lake in California, and it can be my most hated lake in California. Anyways, that's the video for today. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching, for coming along. I'll see you guys in the next one.